Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Hustle Behind Real Conversations. I'm your host, Carlos Villagomez, and this is episode 11. Today, we have our guest. It's the general manager from CBI Bikes, Trenton Bell. Super excited to talk to him. As many of you know, or for some that you don't, I'm pretty passionate about mountain biking. And so super excited to talk to him. It's the beginning of the season and excited to talk about his business, local bike shops, and what's going on in the bike scene here in Southeast Idaho. Trent, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing me on. I appreciate it.
Thanks for being here, man.
Yeah.
We always like to start with talking a little bit about your background, where you're from, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So born and raised here in Idaho Falls.
Local guy. Okay.
Local guy. Yep. Grew up playing sports, playing on the team sports and stuff. About towards the end of high school, or I should say actually we're towards like end of middle school, I got to give credit to my two older brothers. They introduced me into mountain biking. Our oldest brother was going to school down in Utah and actually invited me and our other brother Brandon down to a visit to hang out with him, and he took us out mountain biking, and it clicked for both me and my brother, and it just became a drug. And then as it's grown up, riding all the time with my brother Brandon, and then we got involved with Bill's Bike Shop. I first started on with them in about end of 2004, beginning of 2005, as a mechanical tech with them for I was on there for about 13 years, on and off for 13 years with them, and then just continued my passion of loving and riding and racing. Got into racing. Actually stopped playing team sports in high school and focused more on racing with my brother Brandon, and started kind of going around, traveling around in Utah, here in Idaho, racing all the local scenes in the Rocky Mountain Knobby Tire Series, and did everything there, and then a bunch of local stuff in Boise. And then just the addiction kept growing, and my love and passion grew even bigger and bigger. And so I actually left bike industry for about 13 years, but always had my foot in the door with shops around here in town. And then the opportunity came around with CBI Bikes that they were kind of looking for a positional spot for Pocatello. I actually applied for that, and actually was initially being hired to be a Pocatello. And the day I went to sign my contract, they announced that I was going to be the general manager of Idaho Falls store and Pocatello store. So
to oversee both stores.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. So got back into it, and dived right back into where I left off, and back into the love of the game.
Cool. So, that's awesome, man. Well, thanks for sharing that. You mentioned that you used to race. Were you doing downhill, cross country, a little bit of everything?
Solely downhill.
Downhill.
My love went to downhill. Back in the early days when the whole free ride scene was coming up, watching all the New World Disorder movies and Crank series and stuff. Just, I thought I was going to be that guy. I thought I was going to be like, oh, I'm going to be a sweet downhill free ride guy. And it takes a lot more guts than what I had to do. So
I think we all find out once we get on a bike, most of us. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And so really focused in on that, and loved every second of it. And then I've been kind of getting my eye back into possibly racing again this year and do more enduro kind of serious stuff, because that gives you the mix of the climbing that I'm starting to more fall in love with, but then it gives me my love of downhill as well too. So
it's like we say, you earned a downhill.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yep.
You get to earn it.
Yeah. Yep. Learning it now. So
that's awesome, man. So for those that don't know, Bill's Bike Shop was a pretty, like a staple of the bike shop here in town back in the day, right? It was a pretty famous bike shop. So where you started, how many years did you work there? It
was off and on for about 13. I was full-time with them for about 2. And then I went off and moved to Boise and was going to school over there and hanging out there. And then I would come home like on some weekends or during the summer and stuff. And I'd worked out a great deal with Stan Murdoch, the original owner of Bill's.
I remember Stan, yeah.
Yeah. He would let me come in and build bikes for him. He would pay me per bike I built, or I would do some repairs for him on the weekends and stuff. And he was really great to kind of work with my schedule, and that I would just come in and help. He supplied parts to me a lot of the time, so I would just build bikes for parts or for frames or something like that, and then kept with him. And then I moved home. It was probably 2010, 2011. I moved back to this area. met my wife and got married, but then I started running a night crew for them. So I would, me and about 5 mechanics would go in around 6 o'clock when the shop would close. And then we would do a bunch of bike builds and bike repairs from about 5 to 6 till about midnight.
Oh, nice.
To kind of help ease the burden of the day crew. And so did that for the remaining years I was with Bills, and finally left with them in around 2017. This was my last time with them.
So, what industry did you go into? What did you do while you were, did you ever get away from bikes, or you pretty much always been around bikes? Did you?
So I transferred over to, I actually started building electrical engineering wiring harnesses. Okay. So that read engines and transmissions and everything that read into the ECU and MCU of engines and transmissions. But I always, the passion was always there. So I always had my foot in the door with Bills. Luckily enough, when they did sell and I went to the new owner of Gary White, he was very friendly on letting me come in and still do the same thing. I still worked with them, did some nighttime stuff for them, mechanic wise, bike build wise and stuff. And Gary was really great to work with me on that. So even though I wasn't full time with Bills or anything like that, I still try to keep my foot in the door with all of them and just be involved in the community and in a bike shop somewhere.
Nice. So awesome. So running a bike shop, you hear so many stories. I've talked to many people, and to be completely honest, I thought about opening a bike shop myself. Mm-hmm. When I sold my furniture store. That was kind of like my next thing. But then I was like, do I do retail? And there was already a lot of bike shops in town, and it's a very competitive business. So tell us a little bit about the reality of running a local bike shop, because I think it's challenging. I'm sure it's pretty rewarding, but mm-hmm. I'm sure there's a lot of sweat and tears that go into it. And we like to talk about business here and what it takes to get a business like that going and maintaining it, not just get it going, but maintaining it, which I think is something that you guys have managed to do very well, especially mm-hmm. seeing some of them come and go over time. Yeah.
It is very difficult. We, when CBI started, it was, we play off of our off-road side because we do all the manufacturing and stuff we do for off-road. But luckily enough, the owner, Hal, is a very big, passionate bike rider as well, too. So that was fun to jump in with him because he's, I feel like me and him can nerd out on bikes all the time. Just saw him on Saturday this last week. I haven't seen him for a few months as he's gone on a mission, but nerd out with that guy on bikes. And it's just so fun because we just vibe and click. And I think getting into this industry in town where you have, at the time, Bill's was a very prominent bike shop at the time. And then you have other shops like Idaho Mountain Trading and Dave's, where they have a really good set core of customers. And you talk to people, hey, what shops do you go to? You always get thrown out, IMT, Dave's, And so when we came in, a lot of people didn't know of us because they knew of the outdoor or the off-road stuff that we did. Mm-hmm. And so trying to build that name up is where we're kind of at right now. With the industry, how it is, things have really kind of hit the bottom with the pandemic and everything and building back up. That was kind of the hard thing. We had a really good progress during the pandemic years and stuff like that. But with the downswing of the whole industry has been tough, not just for us, but for all the other shops in town.
In the industry in general, yeah.
Yeah, yep. And just what we're trying to do is just build our name out there more and more. I talk to people constantly, letting them know, hey, we're CBI Bikes. And they're like, oh, where's that at? We don't even know. I always let them know, we're north side of town. We're on the far end. We're in Industrial Park. We're, just down the street from that old Mitchell's Gas truck stop on Holmes. And a lot of people don't know that. So a part for us is trying to get our name out there with the Dave Bike Shop and the IMT and even like Beamers. People know like the small shop that Jason ran, the Beamers, or Brent at the bike shop. Like everybody knows those guys because they're kind of more central located shops. Mm-hmm. Where we're so far out. That's where we've kind of struggled on trying to get our name out there more and more, even though we've been around for now rolling into our 10th year.
Yeah.
And so that's the struggle I've seen, is that like a lot of people just don't know where we're at. We're not a good central located spot for Idaho Falls. However, talk to people out in Rigby, Rexburg, Ryrie area. They actually do know us because we're so far north it's a lot easier for people to hit us instead
Jump
of
right off the freeway and
Yep. Yeah. So we've set more of our focus of the last couple of years is I've been really trying to get our name out there into the Idaho Falls community because our name is actually doing pretty well on the outskirts in the Rigby Ryrie and Victor Driggs. We get a lot of customers from Victor Driggs, even Jackson, because they like to come in and do grocery shopping at Costco or Walmart and stuff like that. A lot of those people do not like getting into town because they don't like going into the big cities, whatever.
yeah, they just want to stay on the outskirts and kind of hit what they need and then head back.
Yeah. So that's been kind of a good benefit for us is to be solely focused our marketing aspects and everything on social media on the outskirts. But now I'm really, really pushing for the last 2 years I have been is pushing it more to Idaho Falls to get our name out there that way.
Nice.
So,
and it's always challenging as a local business to the growth. I mean, regardless of industry, I think, marketing is super important. Always putting the word out there. But I think you guys have managed to grow a lot of word of mouth, right? Word of mouth, satisfied clientele. They're just, I can speak for myself, right? It's like you haven't heard of CBI, go check them out. They're going to treat you really well. So we always try to help grow the business that way. And I think your presence on social media it's fairly good. I think that's something that you guys have been pushing quite a bit, right?
Thank you. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that's been a challenging part too, because we actually, with the way of the industry, we've kind of cut back on our marketing budgets and stuff like that and really just focus more on like the word of mouth stuff. And then just our presence on Instagram, Facebook, trying to get into that whole TikTok scene. It's just, balancing those three is just really kind of difficult.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat.
Yeah, yep. And trying to understand on how all three of those kind of can work together or anything. Like one video might do really well on Instagram and I'll grab it and I'll throw it onto TikTok and it's like 60 views. And I'm like, man, we don't get anything. But then there's some that I've thrown on TikTok that like a couple thousand views, thrown on Instagram, same thing, maybe like 90 views. Just
different audience.
Yeah. And the algorithm, trying to figure that all out, it's been difficult. But the word of mouth one, like you said, we've got some good regulars out there. Our ambassador program's pretty good. We've got guys out there constantly racing and riding and wearing our jerseys and stuff like that. That's helping get our word out, our name out there a little bit more and more.
Yeah.
So
you guys are sponsoring, is it the Epic bike team? Is that correct?
Yeah. So we did for the last few years. We've sponsored a couple of the local Devo Elevate teams that are around the area, like Jeremy Merrill out in Rigby and Ryan Bybee that's here in Idaho Falls. That are two coaches that are doing awesome stuff for the youth in this area that have been getting more and more of these youth kids that are into riding. There's the awesome new school programs, NICA, that everybody has NICA teams. District 93 has their own, District 91, and then Rigby has theirs, Rexburg has theirs, and Pocatello's has theirs. And being involved in those is awesome. All bike shops around are involved in doing discounts or anything like that for all the Nike kids. But then you got these private coaches like Jeremy and Ryan that are just like, hey, kids, we know you like riding bikes, but let's show you a different aspect of riding bikes. Instead of the cross country side, maybe the enduro side or all mountain kind of style. And these guys are they take their own time of the day. They're not paid for these jobs. And so we like to give a kickback to those guys that are helping evolve the sport more and more. And that's something I'm very passionate about, that anything that will evolve the
growth sport.
Growth, I'm always down for.
And so for people that don't know, NICA, it's basically, I don't know what it stands for. Do you remember what NICA stands for?
Man,
okay, we'll put it up there. But basically what it is, it's a league, or just like you can play football in high school, or you can play soccer or volleyball or baseball. Basically you can compete in mountain biking.
Right. Yep.
Right. And it's a beautiful thing because everybody gets to play.
Yeah. Yep.
And you get what you put in, basically, right?
Yep.
And so that's the nice thing about NICA and mountain biking. It's mainly cross country, right?
Yep.
So if you have kids that are thinking about mountain biking, as a matter of fact, I think it just starts. They're going to start. I just got something from Taylorview that they were going to start having their meetings with NICA for this year. So, and it starts in middle school, right?
Yeah.
So,
And sixth grade is the first year that they can jump into it and start going. So the year that they go into sixth grade, they can start.
awesome. And then I think most of the local bike shops, they do like a bit of a discount for NICA kids that are trying to get into a bike, into a decent bike so they can compete.
Yep. Yeah. All of us have came into an agreement. We all do the equal share of discounts throughout. So IMT, Dave's, ourselves, even Alice Sporting Goods, Dustin over there, they do the same thing. So kids can get into a good bike, decent bike, and then also get help on the back end of service wise and parts wise, which is a big thing with sports.
And equipment, helmets, gloves.
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome. That's so good. I mean, to see the sport grow like that and to start them when they're young, I think is just so cool.
Oh yeah.
I learned how to mountain bike when I was, I think probably 9 or 10. And I remember having like the heaviest bike.
Oh yeah.
Like the same thing, just this Chinese bike, and it was just all metal, super heavy. The gears didn't really shift well. They never, engaged well. And we would go on this really long cross country rides, and it was just kind of like in St. George area. We have an area in Ecuador. It's the Valley of Yunguilla, it's called. And so it's kind of hot, and you're on the desert and you're climbing for hours and hours on. And then I kind of went away. But then when I moved back to Idaho, just went right back into it. I kind of got rid of my road bike and right back into
the good side of it all.
Into the good side of it all. I mean, I do have a gravel bike now that I ride, but well, mostly on road because I'm not a huge gravel guy either. But I mean, there's all the different things that that you can ride. That's the thing. So. You were talking about COVID. I think it's important to touch on that. During COVID, I think there was this boom of the outdoor stuff.
Yep.
Anything outdoor just kind of took off, right? Because people just wanted to do things. So I think that all the bike manufacturers I shouldn't say took advantage of it, but I mean, there was a huge demand, and obviously there was no supply because I think a lot of things were shut down, right? So they couldn't produce as many bikes. So prices kind of went up quite a bit.
Yep.
And I think all the manufacturers and all the shops had a heyday, right? But then you saw after things passed, you started seeing the market of the used bikes, and I think used outdoor products in general kind of flood the market, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so how has it been transitioning from that? Because on my end, on real estate, it was pretty similar, right? We had COVID.
Yep.
People were buying houses sight unseen, just via video tours, offers way over asking, $20,000, $40,000, $50,000 over asking, cash, voiding inspections, things like that. So tell me a little bit about how that went with the bike industry from the bike shop standpoint, because I know it from a consumer, what I dealt with trying to find products and things like that. But yeah, tell me what that was for you guys, and also the transition to what it is like now with the economy today.
Pandemic was incredible for the bike industry. It was the biggest boom for bicycles in the history of bicycles and manufacturers and stuff. I mean, everybody, because they couldn't play their sport, they couldn't play their footballs, their basketballs and stuff like that. They still wanted to get outside. People wanted to get out and have that fun. So same thing. People were just buying bikes like crazy. Prices were up. There was really never any negotiations. People were just paying the price tag, and jumping on it. So then we saw the manufacturers and everything, they saw that too. And so they're like, oh, so they kept putting in their numbers for bike builds and getting everything done for factories. Factories weren't really working at full capacity, but yet the demand of builds were still there. And so the factories kept those builds, and pandemic ended. Everybody that went back to their sport was like, I'm not going to use this bike. We're just going to sell it off on Facebook Marketplace or pinkbike.com and stuff like that. So we saw this massive surplus in used bikes just go skyrocketing. However, we also still had the manufacturers that had all these lead time frame builds in with factories building at high capacity. They got all their workers back. Manufacturers were thinking, we're now in this huge bike boom. Sweet. Here it comes.
They continue production levels.
Yep. Yeah. We're going to keep everything going. This is going to be awesome. Everybody's going to just be buying bikes. It's going to be the best. They kept comparing the United States numbers to Europe, because Europe is the biggest hub for biking in the world. Europe, Asia, everything over there, because everybody rides bikes over there. So manufacturers kept looking at it and saying, "Okay,
Would that be numbers wise or per capita or just in general?
yeah, just in general, everything." So they kept looking at
We're
that.
just lazier here then.
Yeah, we are. Yes, yeah, exactly. So like they just saw that and they were like, "Oh, sweet, you're seeing those numbers now shift over to the American market, where everybody tries to get over to here because that's just where big dollars are spent, is here in the U.S." So they just kept those numbers going. Well, that just ended up flooding the market also in new bike builds, and then you also had the flooded market of the used bike builds. So with that, and then everybody going to this back to their original sports of football, golf, volleyball, basketball, everything collapsed. You just saw nobody was buying new bikes, but yet manufacturers were still producing new bikes and asking outrageous pricing for them.
Yeah.
And then you could get a used bike at a really good cost. So, customers weren't coming into us to buy a new bike. They were buying it off a line. So that transition was really hard on us, because like you went from being like, holy crap, this is amazing bike business. Like, get into it. If you get into a bike business, it's just going to boom, to like, oh crap, what are we going to do now? Because, we're not making the dollars on the back end selling bikes.
Yeah.
So now we've seen a lot of transition in the last couple of years of shops turning to more of a repair. So just being a repair shop actually is beneficial to where it used to not be. Having a shop that's great service.
More service oriented.
Yeah, more service oriented and stuff like that. So you've actually saw the shift of bike shops turning more towards that than actually bike sales. We got a couple good shops around here. Brian Walls at East Idaho Cyclery is a sole like repair shop. He has bikes for sale, but his main focus is on service, and he's doing great. Same with Brent at the bike shop. Brent's got some older bikes, some used bikes, and some new stuff, but like service wise, and he's doing great.
Yeah.
And we saw that shift. So a lot of bike shops that we saw throughout the nation either made that shift or sadly closed down. And now I would say in the last like year and a half, we're starting to kind of see the pendulum swing back into a good section for the bike industry. E-bikes have been the biggest thing that has actually kept the bicycle industry alive. Anything like an event in an electric or a Velotrix, stuff that has the throttles on them that can get the older boomer category of people out riding bikes now. That has actually saved the bike industry. We saw a bunch of the big manufacturers collapse or in massive turmoil during the swing off of the pandemic years. And now with those kind of bikes, we're kind of seeing everything come back a little bit more.
So most manufacturers kind of, I shouldn't say pivot, but
Yeah.
not talking about the manufacturer, but they shifted towards, no, I shouldn't say towards fully, but very much put their emphasis on e-bikes because it's a huge market.
Oh, yeah.
And it's only going to grow more, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. You saw like the big guys like Trek and Specialized. When you watch the big three, which I call the big three, your Trek, your Specialized, and your Giant, those are the three biggest manufacturers and bike builders in the country and typically in the world.
Yeah.
When you see them kind of dive into those markets, that you're like, oh, then the industry is heading towards that direction. And that's what they did. They got into the throttle type or pedal assist type bikes. And now you're seeing all these big manufacturers really hone in on e-bikes because it's getting people out riding bikes that never were really riding bikes, never really in the shape to ride a bike, or had medical problems that they couldn't ride a bike. But now with an electric assist, they're able to do that. So we're seeing that big, huge push right now too.
That's a beautiful thing. You see people out in the trails and they'll be able to go to places that they weren't able to go before.
Right. Yep.
And ride bikes. It is a touchy subject too, though.
It is.
Yep. Right? Because you talked about, I guess we can break it down in classes of bike and you'll know better. You'll correct me, but so you'll tell me the classes, but so we have what it's called a pedal assist, right?
Yep.
And that's normally what's allowed in most trails out in the mountains, right?
Yep.
Like mountain bike trails. And then out there in those trails, you normally cannot ride anything that has a throttle, any sort of throttle, right?
Yep.
And
correct.
it's mainly out of concern of damaging the trails as if you were riding like a motorcycle or something like that because of the torque.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. So,
Yep.
but in town, as far as in town, you can pretty much ride anything with a throttle or pedal assist, right?
Yep.
So for people that don't know, a pedal assist it has a motor, but unless you're pedaling, the bike doesn't produce any additional energy, right? It doesn't push you unless you're pedaling.
Yep. Yeah. Correct.
And then the other one, it actually has a throttle. So even if you're not pedaling, you can just push the button and the bike keeps rolling, right?
Yeah.
Cool. And so, yeah, I mean, you see it here in the Greenbelt, a lot of scooters, bikes, people riding around. And it's nice. I mean, we've done rides, more like social rides with people where we're like restaurant hopping or hopping through houses, doing things like that. And people ride their e-bikes because then they're not tired.
Exactly.
They're enjoying the ride more leisurely and
Yeah.
just without being winded. When it comes to e-bikes for mountain bike, with like, let's say with my wife, Kim, she rides an e-bike. It is pedal assist, just making sure.
Yeah.
No, but it allows her to go with, you know, some of the guys that we ride with that can go long distances and, you know, just make it through the whole ride, you know, do a 12, 16, 20 mile ride and still come back home and feel good about it.
Yeah.
You know, and not,
Yeah. And that's the great thing that we're seeing about those is that, you know, I actually just came back from St. George, like as we were talking before. And I have slowly made my focus towards e-bikes because not just because I'm getting old, fat, and lazy. It's because I want to see what everybody else is loving about them, and I'm hooked. The last
They're fun.
They are. Yep.
They're so much fun.
The last 2 years, every time I've been with a manufacturer or a dealer, a rep, my focus has been on towards the e-bikes, is because I want to know more about that, what I can offer to our customers and clients of like, you know, you have a hard time, you have a hard back or hard knee or something like that, like maybe look at an e-bike kind of thing, because then you can get out there and still ride, you can still get your exercise and enjoy it, but you're not like overexerting yourself, you're not hurting yourself. And so just this last weekend in St. George, we did about 35 to 37 miles in 2 days, but we did about 7,000 feet of climbing. And at the end of it, I was still cramping. My legs still cramped up. I still had muscle tension and everything like that. My heart rate was still elevated, but I kept wanting to go. I could have gone for 30 miles more. I could have gone for 100. And I've noticed that too, as my time. I've done a lot of stuff right now with Pivot Cycles down in Arizona. I've gone with them, gone down to their headquarters a couple of times now, to where we were able to go out and ride on South Mountain, which is a completely different kind of aspect of riding. And I've never been a really good, strong climber. It's just not my forte. I don't have the lungs for it. I don't have the power for it. But throw me on an e-bike and doing that kind of South Mountain stuff was phenomenal. You know, in 2 days, you're doing about 50 miles of riding. And I averaged, the last time I was there, it was around 9,000 feet of climbing. And, you know, went up and down on top of South Mountain multiple times and around and stuff like that. But I wasn't dead. And I kept it, my adrenaline was still pumping, that I was like, I don't want to be done for the day. Like, I want to keep going because it's so fun.
You're having fun. You're excited about it. You're not spent. You're not just out of energy.
Yeah. And this last weekend in St. George, the guys I was with were on analog bikes. That's a nerd term for regular pedal bikes. And I was on an e-bike and get done with the rides. And those guys were spent. They were done. They were cramping super bad. Granted, I was cramping, but I wasn't done. I wanted to keep going. And that's the benefit that we're seeing with e-bikes, is that it's getting people out and riding, but they're loving the ride even more. It's getting, I always tell this story. I have a 94-year-old customer out of Alpine, Wyoming. The guy comes into the shop, they specialize in, the guy can barely walk. He's holding the bike to hold his balance as he's walking in. It scares me to death. Great guy. Do the repair for him. He goes out and does his shopping and stuff and comes back, and get him out towards his bike. And he's like, oh, I want to test ride it. And him getting on that bike, I'm just super nervous.
It makes you nervous. Yeah.
As soon as that leg goes over that bike and he hits that pedal assist, and it's not a throttle, it's just a pedal assist. So as soon as he pushes down, the kid, he looks like he's 16 again. He's whooping and hollering and he's cruising around the parking lot, and he has like no problem at all. So we get kind of done, and I'm talking to him. He has over 3,000 miles on this bike. He rides it every single day when there is not snow, because he goes, I'm 90. He goes, I don't want to go. He goes, I want to keep having fun, and this bike gets me to have fun. I get out. I get to ride trails.
I love that.
Or I get to ride dirt, or I get to ride to go see my grandkids, stuff like that.
Go ride with the grandkids. Yeah. Go ride around.
Exactly. And so that's the fun part that we're seeing with the e-bikes. But like you said, there is the touchy subject when it comes with the throttle aspect, because we do have those ones that right now that are throttle and pedal assist. So if you don't want to pedal, hold down the throttle and you can just go like a moped. You know, you can even hop on it and just hit the throttle like you're riding a moped or a motorcycle and never pedal at all. And I have a lot of customers that do that. And that's where we're kind of getting to this great kind of touchy area, because it's so touch and go because of the speed. Right now, typically those ones can top out at 20 miles an hour. However, there's a lot of them on the back end, on the apps or anything like that. You can change them to do 28 miles an hour. So now we get people that are doing 28 miles an hour or 25 miles an hour on the green belt or on a sidewalk.
Yeah.
And which is putting a lot of things in danger, not just pedestrians and stuff like that. You're putting yourself at danger too, going that quick on a bike in a close proximity of a sidewalk.
Yeah, you got pedestrians, you got pets, you got cars, you got you name it. Yeah.
Yep. And so that's where we're now in the bike industry too. We're seeing a lot of turmoil come around, because where's the line? Where are we seeing, like, there should be marked speed limits on walk paths around the green belt, bike lanes on streets and stuff. But you got are people going to follow that? Are people going to keep to the regulations? You know, you got states that have regulations on your class 1, which is pedal assist, class 2, that's throttle, class 3, which is pedal assist throttle, but can do 28 miles an hour. But there's nobody out there that's set a line. We've got a few states that everybody's watching right now that have passed some laws. New Jersey's got a strict law out there right now. Anything that's e-assist, you have to have license, registration, and proof of ownership or registration on you at all times.
So they're treating it like a motorcycle or like a motor vehicle.
Yep. And a lot of people think that's pretty harsh, but it's actually, I think, kind of smart, because it's starting to regulate. We got these Surons and Talarias that these teenage kids that are on, which is great because it's getting them out of the house. But yet these gangs of kids, they're doing 60, 70 miles an hour on sidewalks. You know, you're
crazy. Yeah.
You're out there in Ammon, going around Crowley Road, driving at 40 miles an hour, and look at the sidewalk, and there's a kid doing a wheelie doing 40 miles an hour looking at me.
And is that like a dirt bike style?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. With an electric motor.
With an electric motor. And that's also another gray area, because technically that would fall into the e-bike category. Even though it's an e-moto, because there's no regulations and stuff throughout states or throughout counties and stuff like that. I mean, technically they are basically kind of allowed to be on sidewalks right now, until there's some laws and stuff that are passed that can show that, they're not.
Yeah, so many things could go wrong with that, going, 40 miles an hour on a sidewalk where cars are backing up out of their driveway and kids are playing on their driveway on their, like toddlers and little kids, pets. I mean, you name it. A lot of things that could go wrong, for sure. Yeah. So I could see why those should be treated more like just regular motorcycles. Because, the only difference really is it's not a gas motor, it's an electric motor. That's it, right?
Yep.
Other than that, you have a throttle, you have brakes, and just like an electric car with a regular car, right?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
It's just not internal combustion; it's just electric.
Yeah. Yep.
Interesting.
So, with the benefits of the e stuff, it's great. It's been great for the industry. It's been great for business for us, because we, our technician Aaron, that's been a master mechanic forever. With me and him and our other e-bike technician Melissa, we are able to work on electric stuff on the bike side. We have dabbled into the scooter side of things, because
the demand's there. It's business. You have to serve your clientele. I get it.
Yep.
100%.
And a lot of people look at us kind of different, because we're like, you're a bike shop with e-scooters, but no one else. I mean, you can go buy them at Walmart and Big Five or Owls.
Yeah.
But who's working on them? Well, we are. And now we're starting seeing other shops getting into it too. But the e stuff has just been great for the industry right now because it's keeping it alive. It's keeping it interesting.
And better quality products too.
Yep. Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like at the beginning there was a lot of e-products, but they were just this stuff that you could buy at the big box store, and then year and a half down the road, it just ended up in the garbage. There was no repairing it, not fixing it, no replacing any wheels or tires or anything like that, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. There is no one really offering the service for that kind of stuff. And now bike shops are starting to do that. I was lucky enough last year. I went to an event in Arizona for Segway because of the old Paul Blart, like leaning scooter kind of things. Segway now jumped into the e-bike. And I was out there in Arizona talking with 100 e-bike dealers in the nation that were signing on with Segway. And we saw a lot of those bike shops talking about how they won't touch, the bikes you buy at Costco or on Amazon and stuff because of liabilities with batteries and chargers and stuff like that. Where we found, and I had a couple of good shops in Utah tell me this, that they're like, no, offer a service on that. Yeah, you can't do motors and batteries, which we can, but we can change a flat tire. It's the same with flat tire. You can do inserts, you can do tennis inserts on them. Offer that service. And so we did. And we saw a great number grow in that aspect for us to help with those people with the E stuff that they might not have $2,000 to spend on, but they have $600 they can get one off Amazon.
Yeah.
Offer that service so that we can help them out with, flat repairs or chain repairs or gear repairs. And that's been really helpful too. So,
and that keeps people coming in to your store for different reasons, right?
Yeah.
But eventually they see what else you offer. And that's the beauty of retail, right? Always keep coming people in for different reasons. Give them a variety. Don't focus just solely on one thing, because then you're pretty limited to what you're doing, right?
Yep. Yeah. So that's been a great thing that brings everybody in, is we just offer that, and then we can show them, like, hey, when this one, craps out in a year or so, you want to buy a little bit better quality, here's what we offer. Keep this in mind, keep and just help them out. I always try to keep it that I'm a no pressure shop. We do not, me and Aaron are not pressure salesmen. We don't like to be. Me and Aaron have been in bike shops for a long time, and as people don't know, Aaron RV is a mechanic who actually went to UCI mechanical school and has learned tons and tons of stuff. But we both came from shops where you don't want to pressure people, and that's what we don't want to do. So we just want to show people opportunity and just say, hey, take a look at it. Doesn't work for you? Sweet. But come back and see us when you need work on your other thing.
I like it. No, it's a very laid back attitude, but very service oriented.
Yeah.
And just making people feel comfortable when they walk into the store, rather than the typical you walk in and
yeah, exactly.
the flock.
Yeah, the flock. And I've been in shops where it was like that, where it was like, hey, the first 5 steps, someone's in the door, you have to be greeting them, and you have to be in there like bubbled to be like, hey, have you seen this? Have you seen this? I don't like that. I as a person walking in the store, I don't like feeling that either. I don't like to feel that salesman like hover over me. And so we don't like to do that at the shop. We let it, our registers back in the back of the store for a reason, because we want our customers to kind of come in, walk through, and see everything first. Then we will greet you and kind of thing like that. But yeah, and then like the aspect too is like when they come in to get their stuff worked on, we're able to show them, hey, here you go. When you're ready for the next thing, come see us. So
I like that. No, I think it's a good approach. It's very different than your typical retail says, where it's a lot more aggressive.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good environment for like a local bike shop, like just more laid back.
Yeah.
It's just a good vibe for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really fun.
A couple other things that I wanted to talk about. What about people that want to start biking? Let's go with mainly mountain biking rather than, because I mean, most people grew up riding a bike, right? Whether it's a BMX bike or just a street bike. But what would you recommend for somebody that wants to start mountain biking, to get in the sport? And this is always the biggest thing, we see. It sounds terrible, but it's like if you go to like the big box stores and you buy one of their bikes off the shelf, it's just really not the bike that you want to take on the trail. You're probably going to hurt yourself.
Right. Yep.
And I know it sounds terrible, kind of snobby, but I mean, I've seen it. And I've ridden cheap bikes on the trail. And heck, you can go on YouTube and see people that put those bikes to the test. And it's just not the right thing. But it's hard because mountain bikes are not cheap. by
Right.
any means,
Yeah.
you know. So, but like any other sport, you know, golf, you got to buy yourself a set of clubs and things like that. Some of them are more expensive than others. But tell us a little bit from your standpoint, what's a good way to bring people in? Maybe, you know, the used market. Tell us what you guys do with the used market. I know you guys do some consignment too, right? And
Yeah,
things like that.
we've done some consignment stuff in the past where we you can bring your bike into us and we'll help you try and sell it, and then we just ask that we roll that over into a new bike for you and stuff. We're dabbling into that a little bit more because of still used bike market still pretty high, but my thought is do some research, go shop around, go to all the bike shops in town, ride as many bikes as possible. I was a bike nerd kid. I loved going into the bike shops and just wanted to ride bikes constantly. I wanted to try everything that I could. And that's I like to have that open door kind of policy at the shop. If you want to ride every single bike in the shop on a Saturday, cool. Let's grab a pedal wrench. I'll throw pedals on all day long, ride it. Because you want to find what you like. You don't want to just be like, okay, this is a good deal at Kmart, like you kind of said, and I'm just going to get this. You're going to be uncomfortable. You're going to be unsafe. You want to...
Definitely unsafe.
Yeah. Yep. You want to take that time to find what you want. You know, if you are, and what kind of riding you want to do. Are you wanting to get into the enduro stuff? Are you wanting to do the climbing stuff? Or are you just wanting to cruise around on the trails? You want to find that kind of bike. You know, there's YouTube videos that are out there like crazy. You can kind of find and watch as many as those. Or, you know, the best aspect I would say is just go into a shop and just start trying them. And then if maybe the wallet's not deep enough for a new bike, used bike market's great. Find what you like and then shop for that on Facebook Marketplace. I always like to offer the service. I just helped a gentleman over in Jackson. He came over to me, was just getting into a new bike or was wanting to look at some new bikes. He was honest with me and said, hey, I don't have the cash for this, but I just wanted to try and find stuff out. So I told the kid, I'm like, dude, just here's our card. You can text our shop number. You find a bike on Pink Bike or anything like that and you want some more insight, send me a picture of it. I will tell you my honest opinion, like, dude, this is a great bike. I'm a bike nerd. I'm not just about the Pivot Santa Cruz Yetis that I sell. I love Specialized. I love Trek and Giant.
Bikes in general.
Yeah.
Well, I always say with bikes, I mean, all the the big brands or the well-known names, they're all good bikes.
Right.
You just got to find the flavor that you like.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And that's true. That's very true. Cause there is all the different flavors.
Yeah.
So I just tell people like shop around. Use Bike Market on Facebook is great. You know, you could find a killer bike on Facebook Marketplace or pinkbike.com. That is the global used bike marketplace. You can buy a bike in Europe and have it shipped over to you. It's used, but it's, you know, we sell a lot of our old model stuff on Pink Bike.
Yeah, you guys have helped me sell some of my bikes on Pink Bike.
Yeah. And so that's where I tell people, like, dive into it, get a used bike, get something new. Be prepared because some of the time when you get a used bike, you're going to need to do some tune-up and stuff on it. You might need a new chain, cassette, stuff like that. But, you know, you'll get a bike like that. It's not going to break the bank. Get into it. It'll get you started into the addiction, because I do call it addiction, because once you start, it's hard to stop. And then just reach out to some shops. You know, there's good Facebook marketplace or Facebook groups throughout town. Snake River Mountain Bike Club, great group to be a part of. You know, I think there are about almost over 10,000 deep members on that page. Putting a bike out there, and it's great to see that you're like, hey, I'm shopping for a bike. And I don't know if you've seen too, but like people will throw on there, hey, I'm shopping for a bike. I saw this one online. People give me your insight. Yeah. You get 20, 30 comments of people like, hey, this is awesome. This is awesome.
People are passionate about the sport, so they'll tell you, don't waste your money on this, or that's a good deal. Go for it. Yeah,
yep.
100%.
Yep. And so that's the great thing is you can reach out to the community members too in this area, and they'll be like, yeah, you know, check this out, check that out, do this, do that, do this. So if you're getting into it, definitely look in the used market, play around on the Facebook group pages, you know, go into the shops, test ride what you can. What everybody will let you test ride, and just get a feel for it. Find what you like first. And then we'll find what you like. Just make sure it's comfortable. My big thing, I was trained by Specialized in this aspect, but it's your seat. number one thing I always focus on with customers is seat. You got to have a good seat.
Crazy the difference that it makes.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah. If you don't have a good seat, if it's not positioned right, if it's not where it needs to be, you're going to be hurting, but then also you're going to hurt yourself in the long run. So find what you like and then make sure it's comfortable with a good seat, and then go for it. Get out there, start riding with the club like they do on Thursday nights. We as a shop, we're going to start doing our Tuesday night group rides and shop rides, hopefully here in the next couple of weeks when the trails up at Kelly start opening up.
I like it.
But get out and ride with people, get into the like-mindedness of it all and get involved. And I think people will just fall in love with it.
And so for people that don't know, there is a club in town. It's called the Snake River Mountain Bike Club. I am a member. I was actually a board member for quite a few years. And that's how I got back into mountain biking here in Idaho Falls. And it's just a group of people that really enjoy the sport. Mm-hmm. And so shout out to Danny Kelly, by the way.
Yeah, shout out Danny. Yep.
He's the one that started it, and it's been around for a long time. And they do, once the season starts, I think that their first ride should start here within the next few weeks or so, depending on the weather and trails. But every Thursday night, you can go out. Well, find them on Facebook, find their website, snakerivermountainbike.club.com. And they'll post their rides every Tuesday on when they will be riding Thursday. And so it's normally out in Kelly's or in Pocatello, here around the trails in the area. And you can go out and ride regardless of your level of expertise on riding. And it's good because they'll keep an eye on you. Basically, we have a big group and the fast guys can go up front. Then somebody can go in the middle. And there's always somebody sweeping in the back, making sure that everybody's coming along. And even though you're riding, we may do like let's say a 15-mile ride. Well, it's not the 15 for everybody. They'll do a route. So the shorter group will be 5, the next one will be 10, and the last group will be 15. So it's a really good way to get started. And then everybody hangs out afterwards, goes to dinner if you want to. It's a really good way to get to know people, to learn about the sport. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to make sure I give them a shout out because I think they've been pivotal to growing the sport around here, and then they're good support to it.
Oh yeah.
So
definitely.
Yeah, and it's just a fun group of people. But I'm glad that you guys are going to be starting doing your own rides with a shop.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. We just want to kind of start offering it as a shop, just giving people multiple options to go to. I believe Dave has his Monday night road bike rides. As far as we know, nothing's going on Tuesday nights for another shop. There is the ERC that does a road bike ride on Wednesdays, and then the club on Thursday nights, yeah. And then typically just leave weekends open for everybody to go do their own stuff. But we just kind of want to be a part of that offering of like, hey, maybe you can't make Thursday night ride. Hopefully you can make Tuesday night ride. And then just giving that kind of option, because
you're not limited just to that one day of the week. Yeah. So there's a few options during the week if you want to get into the sport.
Yep. And I'm going to try and kind of keep it so where we aren't going to do the same trail that Snake River does. If Snake River's out at Kelly's doing Cranky Cowboy or something like that, maybe we're off doing Sidewinder on Tuesday night, or maybe we should down to Pocatello and do one of the rides down there. But like just trying to give that option of everything. I do not want to compete with a Snake River Mountain Bike Club because what Danny and those guys have built there, like you said, is in my eyes the biggest thing that has happened in this area for mountain biking because so many people show up. I mean, the last couple of times I've went, it's been a few years now, but like 50, 60 riders. Yeah. And it's like you said, all different ranges. Kids were on there, good old Ken.
People on analog bikes, people on e-bikes now a lot too. So it's great.
Yeah.
There's no.
And I think those guys still to this day are still building this area up just for their knowledge and their love of the game. And so we just want to be a part to offer something with them. As a shop and for rides and everything. And then I'm working out the logistics of it right now, but I want to start offering a once a month weekend ride to actually where we might close the shop down early, or if we can bail out right at the end of the day on Saturdays, go do a bigger ride. Go do, somewhere in Palisades area or Driggs, Victor area, but make it a bigger, kind of more of a day ride. And offer it to people like, hey, you want to come out and ride these, the big holes in Jackson if we can shoot over there in time or anything on the pass, stuff like that. I want to offer something that's like a little bit bigger on that end. So any more experienced guys or even beginners want to come out and experience these bigger, longer trails that are a little farther away, we
Nice.
can have that. So
You just made me think of something. Jackson Hole, the resort in Teton Village, Sundays afternoon, they do their, what is it, $20
Yeah.
for the lift ticket
Yep.
for the last 2 hours. I think it's from what,
Mhm.
2 to 4?
yeah. Yep.
And that's a great place to learn.
Oh man.
It's so much fun because you ride the lift up and you're not going to the very top. They have a bottom section
Mhm.
with, I think, what is it, 5 or 6
Yeah.
different trails that you
Yep.
can come down on. And so you can progress. You start on something easier and you move up as you're feeling more comfortable with it.
Mhm.
And it's, I mean, $20 for 2 hours. Trust me, you're going to ride. You'll be tired by the time you're done.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You
Yeah.
think 2 hours is not a lot, but it's quite a bit.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yep. What they offer is phenomenal. You know, it's a place that I feel comfortable to take my 12-year-old kid on.
Yeah.
I've got my little girl, she's 5. I'm probably not this year, maybe next year. She's just learned how to get the 2 wheels down right now. We'll practice that the year. But because of how they develop those trails over there and how safe they are, you're riding a sidewalk, but
Yeah.
you're going downhill. And it's, you know, like you said, the progression of it, you can go from, you know, 1% grade all the way down, you know, to the high doubled that black diamond if you want to. But it's something where you can progress.
Yeah.
You can learn how to position the bike in the cornering and position yourself over a little bit of a rock section. And that's the fun thing we're seeing with bike parks now that are opening up in there, you know, not just in our area, but throughout the nation, is that they are really focusing on the progression of riding to get these kids out riding more.
Which I think is very important because sometimes as a avid mountain biker, but somebody that mountain bikes a lot and somebody wants to come with you, it's always like you got to be careful where you take them the first time.
Yeah.
And I've made that mistake with some friends where I take them out and they're like, forget this. I'm like, it's miserable, so tired.
Yeah.
So, and it's like, you got to remember, it's like they're learning. So there's a learning curve, right? So you have to, and I think that's why Thursday nights rides are great.
Yeah.
Because it's a really good way to just kind of get your toes in the water and slowly kind of, you know, get in the water,
Yep.
dip in and just learn it. So
Yeah.
it's good. But
Yeah.
no, that's good. I appreciate that about beginners. Let's see, what else? I got a couple other things. What's your, let's go with some easy questions. What's your favorite trail around here?
Favorite trail, Wolverine.
Wolverine.
That was my pinnacle favorite downhill trail. Not doing the old school Space Group stuff, but actually going all the way back to the start of Wolverine and getting dropped off. That was a pinnacle for me and my brother growing up when it came to like getting into the racing scene, is that our mom would load us up and she would take us all the way and she would shuttle us. And if we did it quick enough, we could do 2 shuttles before we needed to get back in some of the mornings. So like we would wake up early on a Saturday, shoot over there, she would drop us off, and we could do 2 runs before we needed to get back for, you know, daily Saturday stuff or something. Or at the old Bill's bike shop days from the Holmes location. We had an incredible crew of guys that I absolutely still adore and love those guys to death to this day. We would leave the shop at 6 o'clock and we could shoot up and we could hit Wolverine and do one. If we did it quick enough, we could do 1 run of Wolverine and 1 run of Holly's Gulch.
Nice.
If we did it quick enough. Usually, typically, at the end of Holly's Gulch, it was getting sketchy because it was getting
dark.
But I absolutely love Wolverine. That was one trail when I was over in school at Boise and stuff like that. That was when I still was like, man, I miss that trail. It was so much fun. A little bummed about how now the Forest Service went in and made it so wide enough for side-by-sides.
Yeah.
I think it lost a lot of its pizzazz and fun of when the four-wheeler guys would make the natural berms with their wheels. Because then us bike riders could come shooting down and use those berms and really rail behind them and get a lot of fun in it. But I think what they're doing up there at Achilles, I can't pinpoint what would be my favorite trail up there right now, because I think what they're doing is the building wise of the new stuff like Cranky Cowboy and everything.
Shout out to Craig Stutter.
Yeah.
I think he's amazing what he's committed to that.
Yep. Yeah. The work that guy
and all the
puts
guys
in.
that are working with him.
Yeah.
Everybody
Him
that
and
goes
Mike and
volunteers.
stuff. Yep.
Yeah. Seriously,
And so if I have to go back to the nostalgia stuff, it's old school Wolverine was by far one of the funnest trails.
I think that's one of everybody's favorites, or some people call it Space Cruise, the Space Cruise version.
Yeah, the Space Cruise
I missed that
version.
race that they used to put on,
I know.
on Father's Day
Yes.
with a club.
Yeah.
The Super D.
Yep.
That was fun.
It
It was
Super
so much
D.
fun weekend. So hopefully maybe they can bring it back. But
Yeah. Yep.
that's a good trail for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So that by far is still like one of my favorite things ever is just remembering the, we called it, I don't know what you guys might have called it, but the open like plains area where you would come out of those trees and it would just open up and it was just straight shot. Oh man. I mean, we would get flying and
I went over my handlebars on that one once and ended up on the shrubs on the side because I was going so fast and I hit a rock on my pedal and it just launched me, and
Daniel.
it was so fast. I was just like, what happened?
Yep. We had a few instances where we would come around one of those corners and you're hauling and there's a cow right in the middle.
Yep.
How many times are you like going to run into a cow or you're dodging cows and stuff like that? But yeah, that section still just my favorite, just coming out of there and you can just pin it as fast as you can. And it's fun flying through that area.
It's a fun section. I used to take my kids on the Weehoo. I feel bad for them now because they're bouncing in the back. The Weehoo is like a single wheel trailer that you hook up to your bike so you can pull your kit, but it's just a single wheel rather than the wide one.
Yep.
So that way you can go on single wide trails. But
Yep.
That's fun.
Oh man, that would be scary.
Put goggles on them.
Exactly.
I can show you some pictures of Augie and Liam, and then you take off their goggles, and this is the only white part, and then they're just covered on there because all the dirt that you're throwing at them.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
But no, it's good times, and then now they like the sport. We were down in St. George too for spring break, and we mostly did shuttle rides with the kids. It was pretty hot. It was hotter this year down there.
Yeah.
And so we did a bunch of shuttle rides and they had fun. They had a really good time.
No, that's awesome. Yeah. And that's the fun part too, the St. George, and how much they offer down there. Everybody here from Idaho Falls, I feel like in spring break, it's a migration of Idaho Falls to St. George.
Oh, it's so funny.
And how many people, you see your neighbors and everything. You're like, oh yeah, you're here. But the trails they offer there is just so much fun.
Their trail systems are pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It's really nice what they've done down there. And I think we try to go early in the spring and then try to push it as late as we can in the fall to just kind of extend our season.
Yeah.
It makes it nice because once it gets cold here, you can still go down there and enjoy probably a couple weeks of mountain bike riding, whether it's Moab, whether it's Sedona or St. George.
Yep.
It's nice. It's anything down in the desert really where it's still a little bit warmer.
Yeah.
So, anything new coming up with the shop? Any new projects? Any new things that you guys have for this summer that you want to share with the listeners?
Right now, we're just kind of just cooking along. We're promoting more of the e-bike stuff. Right now, I sell a lot more of Venton e-bikes than I do of basically any other brand right now.
Oh wow!
We really like to hone in onto the retiree boomer audience that comes into the area, especially the guys that snowboard down in St. George or Arizona and stuff like that.
They come in the summer, yeah.
Yep, and they come back home for the summer. They want to do those fun activities they were doing down there, so we really hone in on that. But yeah, as for stuff, we're just kind of going along. We got a fun nutrition class that we're going to be holding on with Sheldon Hunting and Peak PT is hosting this event for us. We're doing that on August 28th, and Sheldon is a private enduro downhill coach in the area, but has also been helping some of these Devo Epic teams with nutrition and then also their body positioning and technical riding and stuff. Sheldon is a nutritionist, and so we're going to be hosting a night of that. Actually, it's this next coming Tuesday. Anybody can show up for it.
Is it at the shop?
It's actually going to be at Peak PT on Lincoln.
Okay.
And so if you keep an eye on our social medias, I'll be posting that quite a lot in the next few days, promoting that. So that's just, we're teaming up with Sheldon because he's an awesome coach around the area and has been helping out with all the teams and younger youth and stuff like that. But focusing on nutrition, on how to help your body perform the best during its riding time, and then your recovery periods, and then also maintaining, your carb intakes and stuff like that during off days of not riding, or if you're getting serious into racing and stuff. Sheldon's really good at kind of honing that stuff in.
Managing that diet and that
Yep.
nutrition
Yeah.
while competing, but also during your off time.
Yep.
So when you come back, you're
Yeah.
feeling good about it.
You're feeling good in it. You're not feeling the
It's amazing what you put in your body does for you when
man.
you're exercising.
Yep.
And I'm so guilty of not doing the right thing and then paying for it. I did this last on spring break, ended up doing that race down there in St. George again. I pay for it big time, but it's the same thing. I'm not planning to do it. And then, of course, my two friends that I go with, Troy and Brian, and they're like ready for it. And I'm like, well, I'm here. I'm going to do it. It's always kind of like that. And then I'm just like paying for it.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't trained for it or anything. So,
yeah. So kind of getting that inside of, so people can kind of know like, oh, I shouldn't be eating at McDonald's before, tomorrow when I'm going to go ride. So trying to help them out with that. And then we'll just be out some of this stuff. Our big events that we go to is Ammon Days out in Ammon. We usually have a pretty big booth out there that people can come look at some of the bikes that we offer, some of the e-bikes and everything. And then we just got into this last year, and we'll do it again. This Spud Days down in Shelley. Nice. Same thing. We'll have a big booth down there, bunch of our bikes out, so people can come take a look at them. And we're hoping to get to a point where we can have some test rides at some of these events, but until we can get that all figured out with the vendors and everybody that's there. Right now, we're just going to be showing some stuff, but we are working on some things that we are possibly going to be doing some demo nights. So if people want to come out and demo a bike, maybe possibly around the river, they can come and get a bike from us. We'll put a tent down.
And that's when a manufacturer brings kind of like a trailer of different models of bikes type deal, right?
Yeah, this one we'll do more kind of like shop stuff. It'll just be us.
Okay.
But we do have Pivot Cycles that's out of Arizona. Shout out Pivot, 'cause they're by far, I am drinking the Kool-Aid of Pivot. They're my favorite bike ever right now.
I won't hold it against you, but that's okay.
Yeah, with Yeti, yeah.
No, they're good bikes. I like them.
Yeah, luckily enough, I've kind of schmoozed my way in with them to where now they are giving us their demo truck.
That's awesome.
Once a year. So last year, it was kind of a off day. We did it on a Sunday in this area, and a lot of people don't really ride that much on a Sunday. This next year, August 1st, it's Saturday, August 1st. We already are teaming up with 7 Inn and Ranch Bike Park up there by High C. Shout out to Eric Newby for letting us out doing that and stuff. But we will be out there with their truck. We'll be releasing a QR code that people can scan and fill out their registration form, and then they can pick the bike they want to do. All you got to do is show up with your gear, hand your license to the demo guys. So, would they have something on you in case you take off on the bike? You have your valid driver's license.
We know who you are.
We know where you are and stuff like that. And then you can take out the bike that you registered for, go out and ride it all around 7 Inn and Ranch. And then when you come back, because, we try to keep it in our time, a lot of stuff. But then the whole rest of the day, the truck's wide open. You can be like, oh, well, I want to try this, Switchblade, or I want to try this Firebird, or you want to get more time on an e-bike. You can jump on one of the e-bikes and go cruise up around. And we'll be there from about 9 o'clock in the morning till about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Justin and the guys from Pivots will be down there. Yep. And that's what we'll do all day long. And you can just come ride a Pivot for free. Take it through the thrashes that you want to give it to test it, see how you like it and stuff like that. And it's a no pressure kind of situation. It's not like afterwards I'm going to sit there and give you a spiel on why you should buy a Pivot. It's just something you can come try. If you're not even going to look at a Pivot or ever want to buy a Pivot, you get to come ride some awesome bikes for free. And we'll have some food and snacks there for everybody. But then you can just come out and have fun and just ride trails on a bike that's not yours or something you might want to look at.
It's like a really nice bike. Yeah. Really nice brands.
Yep.
And so for those that are not aware, 7 Inn is they have a venue, like a camping area and a wedding or reception venue. It's out by Kelly Canyon, High C area, but they also have a bike park.
Yep.
And so they built it a few years back, and it's great for the beginning of the season and late season.
Yeah.
Because you don't have the snow, and just to really get to learn skills too, and to go there with your kids and practice and everything. So
yeah,
be looking forward to that one.
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so that's kind of what we're all just doing for the bike shop. I actually don't know if you even know that I have a 501(c) nonprofit, and we are trying to get a bike park built here in town.
Oh, nice. Where do you have a location? Or
yep. So the jumps that if anybody's ever been out there to Ryder Bike Park behind the sled hill out on Sunnyside, there's a bunch of jumps in between the walking path and the river.
My kids have crashed on those a couple of times. Yeah.
Yep. So about 9 years ago, almost 10 years ago now, the city approached me and just asked, like, hey, we want to develop some bike trails in the area. We want to get some bike park stuff going. And so we just started building stuff there. As it's progressed, I gradually started a nonprofit organization for donations that we could get from local businesses to help bring in dirt, water systems, and stuff like that. And we built up what the jumps are today. We were kind of in a down period because we didn't know what the Parks and Rec department was going to do with the park itself. A lot of people have probably seen that they went and torn out all the trees down there at Ryder now. You can actually see right out to the river, where before it was the Russian olive trees were everywhere. And the state deems those as an invasive species, so they cut all those down. But I just heard back from PJ at Parks and Rec that they actually are not planning on getting rid of our jumps. They actually are really liking what they're seeing down there. It is a busy community thing for young youth progressing in their bike skills. So we are hoping that this year we're going to steamroll it, and we're hopefully going to make more of a permanent location for us. If you ever check out Ryder Bike Park on Ryder Bike Park Club on Instagram or Facebook and stuff, you'll see all of the work that we've done in the past years, and we're going to continue to grow that more this year to where we want to incorporate an asphalt pump track into the area. We want to involve and bring in a skills part to where we can actually build, people can progress in their riding abilities.
That's so good for kids,
skills.
the pump parks.
If people have seen the new Washington Wheels Park down in St. George, I made a stop down there this weekend just to take pictures. And
I think it's amazing.
It is the most incredible bike park I've ever seen. Yeah. Or I shouldn't even call it a bike park. It's like just a massive park. The playground system is like 3 stories tall and just incredible fun stuff. ABA access pump tracks and dirt jumps, and then the little splash pad, kids section. We're trying to build that here. I grew up here riding all these secret hidden places in town. And then, it was on private land. The developers just took it down. I want to build that place back up. I want to build something here in town that can do that. We got David at IMT that's done the great stuff with Gem Lake and all those guys. We want to add on to it. We want to be with them, because why couldn't this area have 2 bike parks kind of stuff?
Yeah, 2 different styles, because the one is more probably geared towards cross country.
Right, yeah. Skills oriented stuff. I know Ryan Bybee and them just put in some drops and stuff like this last weekend to help progress kids on that.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. We just want to take it to more of the gravity side on our side to help progress those kids that are wanting into BMX racing or jumping and stuff like that. But also involve a pump track for the toddlers, a toddler track or, skills track like that. So that's our main focus on this summer too, is that we're really honing in. I've got a board of members of directors that we're actually starting our first meeting in the next couple of weeks to kind of get things going again. And now that the city isn't seeing how well bike parks are taking off in Utah or throughout the country, really, more cities are building bike parks than actual playground parks, because it's you don't have to throw in that much money for them.
Yeah, it's more simple.
Yep. So we're, as a nonprofit, we're going to be building, and we're going to be funding it. What we want to do is we want to fund it and gift the funds to the city to build this stuff. Keep an eye on us, because we'll be doing a lot of that work too.
That's awesome.
In the next couple
Thanks
weeks.
for sharing that. Yeah,
So.
We'll keep an eye on it for sure. Well, thanks again for coming and spend some time with us.
Yep.
We'll definitely have you again. We'll talk more bikes, more trails, and more local community bike. I guess the one thing I want to add is also the city has been building the green. I'm sure people know, but basically kind of an extension of the green belt along the canals along the city. And I think they work a little bit every year. So that's great for road biking, or if you have a scooter, rollerblading, whatever it is, but you're not limited just to the greenbelt by the river. And so the idea is that it's all going to interconnect, whether you want to go run as well. So it's a good thing. But thanks again, man. I appreciate you spending the time.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks
and
for
we'll have
having
you
me
again.
On. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks.
it, Trenton.